Welcome to day 9 of the 30-day brand building challenge. I'm so proud of you. Let's keep going. So today we're going to work on another V, which is what we call the vault. And the vault is exactly what it sounds like. Imagine that you're walking into a bank, and as you open that massive heavy vault door, or you pulling it open, vault that thick, that's where all of the asset is, that's where all the value is, right? And so we're going to imagine that you have this bank of value, which you do, but it might all be locked up here right now. And what we're going to do is take it from here and turn it into something that enables your dream customers to access that value in a way that meets them where they're at. See, many years ago, don't know if I've told this story in this journey or not. I speak a lot, and so I've shared this story recently somewhere. Many years ago, it was back in 2014, we had built our business, one of our businesses, and we'd launched a brand strategy company in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And we went out there regularly, and at least every 2 to 3 months, we were flying out, delivering, back then we called them brand building boot camps. And so we were running these one-day events and then upserving them onto our bigger program, which is what you're going to learn and you're going to create as well, your core program, right? So we'd only created our core program by that point. Now, that was £6,000 in sterling, British pounds, but in Calgary in Canada, that was just over 11,000 Canadian dollars. So it sounds like a lot more, but it's all relevant. However, they were going through coming out of the other side of quite a major recession at that point. And so we were focused on working with clients who could afford that. We'd set that was our bar. That was our standard of who we were working with at that time. Bearing in mind, we'd just sold our design agency, our branding agency, and now we were building how to build a brand all over the world. And so we were doing a lot of things with a lot of clients at a very high level. And so really £6,000 or $11,000 back then, that it wasn't a massive amount for the kind of clients that we were working with. And so we were running these one-day brand building boot camps to attract those kind of clients, but with the intention that anybody could come along on the boot camp and receive value from it and learn how to build a thriving, buzzing brand. But the kind of clients we were moving towards our products and programs at that time were the ones that could afford that, so it might feel to you at this stage of your business, if you're early in your business, well, I don't want to price anybody out, but you will find that there are certain levels of product and program that are perfect for a certain level of client. See, if I were to put a brand new business owner into that kind of program, which was totally developed for existing established businesses who were changing direction and rebranding, repositioning to a new market, you put a brand new client through that, then you're going to be like putting a fire hose in their face, and they're just going to be like, what the heck, I don't get any of this is going on. So it wasn't aimed at that kind of client, and this is what you're going to go through in a moment, right? So the point of me telling you this is that we had a lot of people that came to it, and one of our members who had signed up and was on this program had invited a friend of theirs we'll call him Sean for protection of his family and his name. And so Sean comes along, and he just loves what we're doing, and he says, I really, really want to jump in, and if I had $11,000 I would totally jump in with you, but I just can't do that right now. I'm at the point of almost losing everything, and I just, I've put everything that I can into my business and I don't have anything else. Is there any way you can help me in any other way so that I can go away and get on with it. And then maybe next time you're back in Canada, hopefully I'll have raised the money to be able to invest in your bigger program for me to then take it to the next steps, because I'll have established it enough that that program will then be perfect for me. And I said, I don't really have anything at this point. We had our book, I don't know if you can see it over there, far right, that one, The 7 Reasons Why Customers Don't Choose You and How You Can Change That. And that was our very first book that we launched early 2014, I think. And so that was the only real resource that I had back then, other than this bigger program. And the reason we'd created that bigger program was because we were speaking a lot on how to build a brand, and we were delivering £20,000 one-to-one strategies with our clients, but we didn't have an online version of it. And one of the people that saw us on stage came up at the end and said, can you teach me how to do it myself? Because I haven't got 20,000 to invest in you, but can you teach me how to do it myself? And I said, well, yeah, I suppose so. And so we developed what was then the Brand Accelerator program for him. And as we started to deliver it for him and he started to get massive results really quickly, he then was starting telling other people about it, and they were then jumping in on the program, and we were just always 1 or 2 steps ahead of them as they were going through it. And before we knew it, we'd created this incredible program that was taking these, people from very early on in their business, like Jem, who was that first person that asked us to create that program for him. He was a personal trainer, and he was fed up of competing with all the other thousands of personal trainers. He wanted to be a celebrity personal trainer. So building his personal brand and going through the kind of process that you're going through now. Of course, you're going through it at a very basic level. He invested to go through it at a really fast, like, let's get it done level. And so there was mentoring involved in it as well, personally, and with my team. And so he goes through it, he starts recommending us to other people, it grows, it becomes a £6,000 program. And so we're now flying all around the world delivering these brand building boot camps, and people are signing up to the Brand Accelerator program from these boot camps. So it all kind of happened very organically. But now we've got Sean saying, do you have anything? And we just didn't have anything, because we developed that program for Jem, and then he'd referred us to these people. And then before we knew it, we were just on a roll, and it was very anointed, and God was clearly putting us in that direction. And so we were flying. But how do you help someone like Sean? So I said, we're coming back in a couple of months. I'll think about what I can create for you that will get you started, that will help you to get on the ladder. And he'd basically invested, the story he told me anyway, was that he'd invested $20,000 in a branding and marketing company over a year previously, and he still hadn't delivered his branding or his website, and he didn't have anything to show for it. And by that point, he'd remortgaged his home. He'd left his job to go all in on this business, but he didn't have a business, and he didn't really know how to run that business. And there was that recession that he'd come out of, so he didn't have a job anymore. Likelihood of him getting a job was very low. It was, set up a business and create income, or you can't survive, basically, with the area that he was in. So I said, look, I'll go and I'll think about this in between our trips, and then I'll create something as quick as I can. So anyway, we went straight from Calgary. We were on a speaking tour, so we flew to another few places. And by the time I get back to England, where we were based at that time, I received this message from the member who had invited him to come to the event to let me know that Sean had taken his own life. And I didn't realize how serious it was. But I just felt like, definitely at the time, I could have done something to have helped him. I could have pulled a little piece of magic, a little pinch of magic, as I call it, out of the bigger program. I could have, pulled some maybe things out and made a basic level for him to get started. But I didn't have that kind of mind at the time. It wasn't obvious to me then, like it is now. And that's why I teach what I'm about to teach you the way that I teach it. because when my members go through this, and they go through it as a proper module, and like I say, we're doing the basic stuff here on this challenge. If you want to dive in and do the more comprehensive stuff, then reach out to me and talk to me about actually jumping on the program itself. But for now, let's just get you started and do the basic level of this, because what will happen is, as you start to build your brand, as you start to create publicity and exposure towards your business, people will naturally start to move towards you. Hopefully they are the ones that are matching your values and your vision and everything we did at the beginning of this process. And because they're moving towards you, you want to be able to serve them and support them, but there'll be people that aren't ready to go all in on your bigger thing. So we want to make sure that we've got some smaller things as well as the bigger things to be able to serve them and support them while you are helping them to go up the ladder, the value ladder, which we call the love escalator. Okay, so it's the lifetime order value escalator. We want to love on them so much that they go on a whole journey with us, and some are going to be ready to go straight in at the top, and others are going to need to start at the bottom, but you nurture them so that they go up and up. So I'm going to take you across to my other screen now and walk you through the love escalator worksheet, and I'll give you the download. Have a look in the notes. You'll be able to find in the description with this session, you'll be able to find the link to go download your love escalator worksheet and work on either the worksheet itself or just have it up on the screen and journal it out. As I said at the beginning of this process, try and think about keeping everything in one place, either in one Word document or in one journal, and just keep it all together so that you can see the progression as you're going through this process, and just work on that love escalator process. And then tomorrow we're going to unpack it even more. So this session really is about just brain dumping your thoughts and your ideas right now, and tomorrow we're then going to crystallize them and bring it down into the 4 things that you are going to create as a journey for your dream clients. But we're not going to create 4 separate things. We're going to create one thing, and then we're going to take the other things from it, so it makes it as easy as possible for you. All right, let's go to my other screen now and I'll walk you through it. This point in the next couple of weeks, we're going to go through a more comprehensive version of this to then pack each one of these different levels out, because there'll obviously be a customer journey behind each of these different levels. So this is really the kind of helicopter hat view of you brain dumping out what your customer journey could be. So the reason why I'm going to invite you to start here at the core product instead of right at the bottom, which is where most people start. In fact, it's where I first started, and I made big mistakes by starting here, which is why I'm teaching you a totally different way. I don't want you to have to learn the hard way like I did. So when I very first started How to Build a Brand, before it became Impact Catalysts and Kingdom Catalysts, and the reason for that was because we built How to Build a Brand, but we were teaching so much more than just brand. I'm a branding expert of 24 years. Brand is what I live, breathe, eat, sleep, walk and talk, and have done for all that time. My qualifications are in that. My HND and my degree are in that. And so I'm well versed in that. My whole career has been in that. But because I've also then built a lot of companies and supported over 70,000 entrepreneurs to build theirs, I've got a lot of business experience. So we started to go into lots of other different areas of training and support and mentoring and coaching and retreats and all kinds of other things. So what happened was the lead magnets that I started creating, that I launched the business with at the very beginning, I don't promote any of those things now. So of course, my very first real lead capture was my first book, How to Build a Brand, The 7 Reasons Why Customers Don't Choose You. I've created my book, and then as I started to provide services for my clients, and we go up to, as I talked about, the brand accelerator program, which is now the Impact Catalyst program, purely because we realized that actually the whole point of building a brand is so that you can make the impact that God is calling you to make. And as you make that impact, of course, you make the income and the brand naturally builds. So we take a different approach now. We focus on the impact because the impact is what our clients are paying us for. They want us to teach them how to make a bigger impact, how to attract more clients quickly so they can make a quicker impact. And there's so many different areas that we go into. But of course, what that means is we now have core products and services that I don't advertise in this book. I've got things in that first book, and that book's out all over the world and is still selling today. And through other people's websites, by the way, because so I've got no control over those people that are selling our book through their websites. I keep finding other websites that are selling our book, and I've never heard of them before, which is a great compliment. But it means that I've got a book that is out there that they are selling that doesn't have the products and programs in it that we now provide. So I don't want you to make that mistake. So here's why I want you to start at the core product or program level. Now, as you can see, I've put a little kind of estimation here, and that really does depend on your industry. Like, you know, I tend to go with a 10% increase. So if you're going to have a core product, if the main product, like if I'm going to go all in, I'm going to give this client absolutely everything I could possibly give them. Like I'm loading in the mentoring, I'm loading in the training, I'm going to give them all the tools and resources. I'm going to give them a one-day event 4 times a year, or whatever it is that you're going to bundle in. If you were going to get your client, your dream client, the absolute best result, and it took a year to get them that, or X amount of coaching sessions or whatever, this is like your all-in product. This is going to be your core business. So everything that you build will be around this thing, right? You probably have some ideas around what it is that you could sell, whether that's a coaching program or maybe a conference or mentoring sessions. You might have physical products here. It could be anything, and you already started working on that yesterday when you started planning out your idea about what you could do. So I would say that, if you've got something that's around £5,000, for example, then 10% of that, you want to take 10% of this. So anything that you write in here, like, coaching, mentoring, training, 2 retreats a year, all of your products. So then what you do is you say, well, out of all the things that I could fully load in here, I'm going to take 10% of this and I'm going to make that my minimum value product, which will be 10% of the price as well. So if this is £5,000 at your core product, then your minimum value product would then be around £500. And then we say, okay, so say for example, that's your coaching, mentoring, training and retreats. You might say, okay, well, I'm just going to pull out the training here. So they don't get any coaching or mentoring, but they do just get the training. And, and that's going to be £500, for example. And then what you do is you take a little pinch of magic from this and say, well, how can I take £100 worth of value from here, or dollars or euros, and you turn that into your lead capture product. And then underneath here, to drive people into here, then you'd have your books and your blogs and your YouTube videos and your social media reels and things like that to drive them in to the journey, to get them started. It might be a webinar or a challenge. So that's what we're looking to do. Now, you notice we haven't even looked at your upserve product as part of this conversation yet. And that's because I would make this a subscription or membership style product. So that if somebody's received your core service, say for example, your core product or service is a retreat. So you take people away for 5 days or whatever, somewhere fancy, and you do a really intense deep dive retreat. You that you get to the end of it and you upserve them to, hey, look, you've done this work with us here, but what if we could continue on this journey together? We've got this next product or program that you can be a part of, and it doesn't have to be this price. I know people that would charge then £25,000, dollars or euros for this. So I'm just giving you an estimation of prices here. If you're going to work with corporate clients, then they wouldn't even look at you if you were charging it might be that your lead capture starts at 5,000. You've got to really think about your creme de la creme client. Who is that? And basically your dream client, what you would charge them. Well, it doesn't mean that these are each of these are different clients along this journey. It could be that it's the same client, only they are at different stages of their journey. You think of Sean, for example. He was needing me to provide something like this of around maybe $100, and he might have even borrowed that to get started. So he was at that sort of level. In fact, I think the brand building boot camp that he came on was like $98 or something like that. So someone had paid that for him to come. So he was looking for this, but what he really wanted was this. But I needed to get him there. So by taking a pinch of magic out of this, and then taking a pinch of magic out of that, you end up with this beautiful journey that leads your dream client constantly going up and constantly moving with you, instead of having to go somewhere else to find what they need and then only coming back to you, if they do come back to you, for this once they're ready. So we don't want to lose anyone, do we? So this is your activity for today, is to go and do some brain dumping around this. You might have 4 or 5 different ideas that are starting to bubble up now, but just play with it, have some fun, and then tomorrow we're going to get more serious about it, and we're really going to go into more depth and take you to the next step with this process. So enjoy, have fun creating, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day number 10.